Are you ready to find out the 2022 color of the year? I think the answer will shock you. Another week and another glorious color of the year to talk about. As design enthusiasts, we really do get spoiled this time of year, am I right? Because we get to peer into the time machine of interior design and see what the professionals, the big bosses, think will be the trending colors of next year. It's also pretty cool because it seems like every company has a pretty different and unique take on what they think that color should be. So today, we're talking about the company VALSPAR and their choice for the 2022 color of the year. Like most companies, they announced a collection of colors that are all together, which paint the picture of the full trend. And I want to do something a little bit different in this video, just to have a little bit of fun, you know? Spice it up a little bit. I'm going to go over the 12 colors that VALSPAR has selected, but I'm not going to tell you which color was selected as color of the year until the end. I want you to figure out. So let's play a game. As soon as I start talking about a color that you think is the VALSPAR color of the year, I want you to pause the video and then comment below and say, my pick is blah, blah, blah. No cheating. If you like cheating, however, like the video for me, you sneaky little cheater you. Let's talk about these colors. And I'm pleased to say that VALSPAR really did a great job at giving you a broad variety. To me, there are no similar or redundant colors here, so hopefully there's something for everyone. Let's get this first one right out of the way. It's called Gilded Linen, and it's marketed as being a soft white hue that will make your space feel nice and cozy. Really, it's just a slightly warm, minimalist white paint color, and yes, totally not that interesting, but still an extremely useful color to use as a backdrop. VALSPAR does a great job at showing you on their website how to utilize this color without making a space feel completely devoid of any design. And they do it by utilizing a lot of natural woods to contrast the white, as well as some lovely textures in the form of wicker baskets and fluffy rugs, as well as artwork and plant life. Is this the color of the year? I mean, it's possible. Benjamin Moore had a warm white as their color of the year not too long ago, so it's possible. The next color we're going to chat about is Lilac Lane, which is a fresh shade, beautiful versatility, bringing a softness into the home. So another lighter color. This one is a pastel shade for sure. However, it's less of a purple to me and more of a pink with a touch of purple in its backdrop. Lilac in general isn't an overly strong or bold purple color, but it's usually not quite as pink as Lilac Lane represents. What's great about it is this color goes really well with more deep blue-leaning purples. So if you're working within that wheelhouse, I can see why this color would be pretty popular. Is it the year of pink? I mean lilac. Next up we have Subtle Peach, which is a natural color that is calming, positive, and full of possibilities. I think this description is pretty accurate because full of possibilities meaning it's actually quite versatile, considering its peachy quality is rather understated, and you're more so focused on the slightly orange beige aspect. It's positive because it's a warmer color, and that tends to feel more uplifting to a lot of people. Now, the last description was calming, which is a bit of a hot take, because I can feel some of your blood pressure rising seeing a color like this. No more beige. No more beige. The same people, I would argue, might actually end up feeling a bit calm because they'll just fall asleep looking at it. Boring. It's not though, it has that peachiness. Similar to the off-white color, not totally groundbreaking here, but having a slightly interesting take on beige can work wonders to open up your space. If that color doesn't have enough warmth for you, the next color, Delighted Moon, introduces much more warm yellow into the mix. It's described as a cheerful yellow that creates a modern, playful look. And what's cool about it is it almost seems like a more updated take on the tan family, where you're introducing this healthy dose of mustard yellow. So it still sort of accomplishes what deeper beige colors do, but also having this really lovely, rich hue of yellow. One of my color of the year predictions was a yellow of this type, because I think it's a hue that can be one of the most modern looking colors, while also fitting in perfectly to those older Victorian style color schemes. So if you like antiques, but own a Tesla, yellow could be your color. Yellow is also the most energetic color there is. and I got a lot of energy right now. But if you're not ready for bright, saturated fun, then perhaps a cozy neutral shade like Country Charm will do you good. VALSPAR talks about how this color works well with different wood tones. So I'm looking at you, farmhouse fans, and by industrial dudes and dudettes. I would say Country Charm is probably the most neutral color of the bunch, in the sense that it has a healthy combination of beige and a little bit of taupe. Not quite a grayish, because there does seem to be a little bit of brown as well, but I truly think this is a versatile color that you can do a lot with. I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds like color of the year caliber to me. Maybe. Now we have the color called Gray Suit. Yes. VALSPAR has a gray in the mix. Think what you want. This is definitely one of those gray colors that is pretty susceptible to undertone shifts based on the surrounding lighting and its color temperature. VALSPAR describes it as an elegant, balanced color in that it works with natural elements and accents to create a cohesive and comfortable look. It's interesting because in this picture, it almost has a green undertone being shown, but I suspect it's because of warmer lighting being casted onto it. The color itself looks like it may have just a touch of a red undertone, which gives it an earthy taupe or even sometimes purple touch that can come through. Overall, it's pretty warm, but not in a golden yellow warmth way. You know what I mean? If you don't know what I mean, then be sure to watch our 50 Shades of Grey video we did that goes into great detail on the different types of grays and their undertones, but after this one. So yeah, gray, still alive and well, but is it the color to define 2022? Probably not. Spoiler alert, but maybe. Sunset Curtains is a much more uplifting color, which is described as a subtle, quiet shade that creates a soothing space for reflection and relaxation. Another slightly pastel color that also seems to have a rosy type of color, not unlike Subtle Peach, which we talked about earlier, but instead of having a little bit of a pink orange undertone, this color introduces more warmth with a more apparent soft orange hue. You won't really be mistaking this color for a simple beige. It's a lot more saturated than Subtle Peach, yet it still coincides with more beige leaning colors that are perhaps more yellowy, or as pictured here, works fine with off-whites that are more gray looking, and those beautiful reds and terracottas and copper colors. I know a lot of you were talking about those rusty orange and terracotta colors coming back, so maybe this color is the transition to that. Is it the definitive color of the year? What do you think? This is fun. I should do this more often. Rustic Oak is next, which is a warm, rich color that adds an element of sophistication and reminds you of home. Basically, it's a warm golden brown, a bit of a tan leather type of color, and I think it's supposed to evoke a bit of nostalgia, and they allude to it in their description on their website. Whether you grew up with oak furniture of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, or you were born just outside of that era, this color is going to make you feel comfortable because it's easily recognizable. I also really like how they used it in their promo as a semi-accent color on the bottom half of a wall. Just a perfect example of taking a color from the past and modernizing it. This one really did surprise me. We're now getting to a very light but interesting color called Orchid Ash, and it's described as a refreshing, color-infused white, bringing a cool, simple look to cabinets. So this color immediately gets pigeonholed as a cabinet paint color, but I think there's a lot more to it. What I like about it is it has a very soft, cool purple undertone that is fresh and really an interesting twist on blue-gray. If you've watched our gray video, blue-grays have become really popular, but that popularity is both a gift and a curse because now people just want something different. This is something a bit different because you're starting with a very light, cool gray with blue at its core, but you add just a bit of red to give a subtle kind of periwinkle purple. I see what you did there, VALSPAR. I think you're onto something here. But at the same time, you can't really call it a color of the year palette without including a navy blue. Am I right? Navy blue, still popular. Mountain River is a rich, darker shade that brings a sense of calm and stability to any room, at least in the words of VALSPAR. This is a deep blue that is just a tiny bit toned down with some gray, and it does feel like it's a bit closer to those dark denim blues that can maybe feel a tiny bit purple leaning in certain cases, rather than the much more heavy-handed green-based blues that can sometimes look teal. As a color, it really does feel settled, and there are darker blues out there, which makes it a pretty solid candidate as a full room color. It just adds a lot of visual depth to allow your eyeline to just really sink into those beautiful, deep, rich blue walls. After that description, how can this not be the 2022 color of the year? Well, this next one is gonna give it a real run for its money. Fired Earth is the closest color to black on this list, as it is a dark and approachable shade that adds a level of sophistication to both interiors and exteriors. So this is the first mention of an exterior color, and honestly, black never goes out of style, so if you're not a fan of painting your house every other year with outgoing color trends, going with a black or an off black in this case isn't a bad choice. This color is obviously pretty dark, although I still call it an off black because it has an interesting balance of undertones. Kind of reminds me of an old piece of dark chocolate, like the really, really dark stuff. Maybe it has like a thin layer of dust on it. Gross. When used outside especially, you start to see a little more of an apparent earthy green undertone, but it also has enough red to keep it in check. It won't read as a deep green, but rather just a very dark shade of chocolatey, kind of greeny brown. That was quite the description. But if you thought that color had some green in it, you ain't seen nothing yet, because our last color is Blanched Thyme, which is a beautiful, slightly cool, organic green that works beautifully with warmer wood tones for a natural and balanced look. I'm really into the green these days, everyone. I just have to tell ya, because of what they represent. They promote tranquility, rejuvenation, life, and paint colors that can evoke those types of feelings are an automatic winner in my book. I still think overall, it is a warmer color because it does introduce this open and cozy feeling that warm colors tend to represent, but it doesn't have an overabundance of yellow in its undertones, which is why it's described as feeling a bit cool, similar to a pistachio gelato type of green. All right, we've made it through all 12 VALSPAR colors. I hope by now you've made your decision on what you think the color of the year is, and if you haven't, I'll give you a couple more seconds to make your pick. Just tapping on my wrist as if I had my watch on. It's wrist o'clock. Are you ready to find out the 2022 color of the year? I think the answer will shock you. The answer is all of them. Yes, VALSPAR has named all 12 colors as the colors of the year. Kind of a cop-out because you think that they would just be decisive about one of them over the others, but they didn't. So all 12 colors are colors of the year, but I want to know which one you would single out as the definitive 2022 color of the year. Let me know in the comment section. The color that gets the most votes will get a color code episode in the coming weeks.